what's going on? If you're watching this video, I assume you know who I am. I'm here with Evan and Pablo, and today we are tiering the NAL, I guess for stage 1, because they'll probably make roster changes after half of them get bid on. But I suppose the first team to tier, if we're going by this, is Dark Zero.
Lucy died. One stop, one cell. Go big.
Attack.
Let's do that giant. One.
What are you guys thinking?
I think Dark Zero. I'm between like a 5th to like could get top 4, but
I think they will get top 4.
I'll probably put them at like A for now because they're going to be I think they're like French top 4. Like I think they're like 3, 4, 5 area.
yeah.
But I think they're consistently there, so I think like A is fine for them for now. Next one is Space Station Gaming, Invitational Champions of 27 years ago.
They always do go crazy in NAL, so I'm gonna have to put them top 4 as well.
Yeah, I'll probably put them at A. They always do perform well.
Now, I think they will go above DZ though.
Yeah, my question is since this is strictly NA tier, are they S tier because it's just NA? Because I think stage 2 last year, they only lost 1 game, and then stage 3, they only lost 1 game. So they're like...
you just have to put them S tier. Yeah, dude, put them S tier. Put them S tier.
For NAL?
Yeah, I think they're NAL S tier. And then your...
Mickey Mouse invite winners.
Yeah, current invitational champions, TSM.
Fox Merc absolutely smokes Laxon. He killed them off. Chalice inside of his sight. He's going to clutch this round. He failed on the previous round. Vertical coming around the corner. Up swings Chala. He gets some.
I'll put them A. I'll probably put them ahead of DZ. I'll put them ahead of DZ, but it's always like TSM. Like last year, they like didn't do so good during the NAL, and they showed up at the end.
By Beast Coast day 1.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they're going to do better than DZ. But...
Yeah, so I think for TSM, I think they're clearly better than DZ or SSG. Like, I mean, they're the invitational champions, but within NA, and I mean, even if you look at invitational, the only NA team TSM played, they lost to Dark Zero. So yeah, I do think for whatever reason, TSM just struggle more against NA, and they're more of a best of 3 team because typically they have a really good map pool. I think if I'm just ranking these for like to win a international tournament, TSM's definitely first, but for the sake of just NA, I agree. I think like A probably above or around where DZ's at is. So the next team is Beast Coast, obviously.
Eventually being slightly exposed to an angle they weren't, and so far they've excelled in trying to stop that. But here's the problem: the frags are still rolling through, and Bozo is going to be able to get a 1v2 clutch.
So what are we thinking for Beast Coast?
I think we put them on D. Yeah, I think with D, like maybe if not D, literally probably like super low C, but probably D.
I don't think they're going to be the worst team, I guess, is how I would put it. That tournament or whatever, the invitational qualifiers, they're beating Astralis, XSET, Parabellum. So they've kind of shown that kind of team, because it was sort of the same, Slash and Yardy, and then they've kind of probably upgraded with Wetter in terms of talent there, and Anthony. I think they like honestly could place better than a few teams.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have either like really good or really bad results. Like I don't think there's gonna be like anything in between, like less games. I think those guys are either gonna just get shit on or like upset some teams.
So the next team is going to be OXG.
So a standout performance is obviously very welcome. Vertical walks right in though. It's his on the Zauda plant going down from Kino, and Achieved and Geo will need to be the ones to try to salvage this round.
I think they'll get top 4 because they just always find a way to somehow like make NAL top 4. So
I don't really know. I'd either put them like high B or low A. Don't really know how they're gonna work with their new players. So
I would probably put them kind of the same as DZ, at least for now. Where I feel like they could be 3rd, 2nd, and I feel like they could be 5th, 6th. I think they can definitely make top 4, and I don't think they're going to be like bad. I think they're kind of like fringe top 4, which is kind of where I would put Dark Zero. I probably would put them like low A right now. I honestly think Dream is an upgrade from Kino. The bigger question is just going to be how good Newers actually is in Pro League, because he's never even played Challenger League. And Yaga, in my opinion, was like especially at like international tournaments, was a good player for them. All right, so then the next team is Mirage.
Fire doesn't know where they're located. Loading picks off one, but J9 is still on it. No, stunned at the last second by the Zofia.
They obviously have a quite different looking roster this year. What do we think about Mirage?
I don't know. I kind of see them as like a Beast Coast, but I almost want to say that Beast Coast is almost gonna do better than Mirage. I'd probably put before Beast Coast, which almost makes you want to bump Beast Coast up to like a low C. But
The players on Mirage, pretty good. I mean, over Beast Coast, if you go like player for player, I think.
Yeah, I think the one thing with Mirage is they're working on a shorter time period than everyone else. Originally, they were intending to pick up newers to join Dream, and then all of a sudden they had to find 2 new players. So they're working with less of a time frame to prepare for the things we already kind of mentioned. I do think that's an interesting argument you said of like player for player, is Mirage more talented than Beast Coast? And I think it's kind of hard to tell because I think talent wise maybe, but then you have like the game sense wise, what I would probably say XSET or not XSET, Beast Coast. I mean, honestly, I would call it like just the balls to the wall philosophy that I feel like Beast Coast are going to have, which I think is just right now a better way to play. So like Mirage might be more talented, but I think Beast Coast, if they were to play each other, would like press Mirage. So then next is XSET
against Razor. Jarvis now out of utility. No more toxic babes to hold back the rest of SSG. Filthy though, finding so many kills. Bosco able to.
They have a completely new roster. Obviously, they were relegated, but they bought their spot back into the league. What do you think about XSET?
I think I could see them place like 5th. But I could also see them get completely like shit on. When I think of like actual guidance, and when you think of like many of these rosters, you know, there's usually a person that you can always go to be like, yeah, that guy probably leads them. They're probably the leader, their IGO, whatever you can like want to attest to. But I think with XSET, it's like hard to actually find. I don't think they have a single person that can guide them and can make, I guess, like all these plays.
Yeah, I think they're kind of gonna be like Astralis was last year. Like they did good for like the first stage, but like once people get to learn how to play against them, I see them falling off.
Yeah, I think they have a talented roster and like talented enough where I think they'll be better by some teams by default. And I also think Udega, for, you know, he appears to be a clown on Twitter. I think he like at least has some idea of like what they're trying to do. He was the coach of a team that placed 3rd at Invite, so he's not like, I would assume, completely oblivious. They don't really have clear roles to me. It's kind of like a bunch of guys on a team who are trying to figure it out. I mean, they don't really even have a natural support player. I kind of think like maybe B for XSET. Like, I don't think they're bad. I just think I think they're going to be the biggest hit or miss team like week to week, I think.
I agree with B. Yeah.
So the next team is Parabellum.
Happening because so much has happened. Drop from Spirits finds 1, he finds 2. It's all up to Nova here in a 1v1. Close, it comes from the.
What do you guys think about Parabellum for stage 1?
So I thought Parabellum's best shot at the league was going to be with the original roster. I think like scrimming those guys previously, you know, like those guys were a good team. Like, you know, like nobody can discredit them. Those guys were like a really good team, but I do think that was going to be like the best iteration of Parabellum that we were ever going to see. Not only is it awkward because, I mean, you already have this guy coming in kind of like a guaranteed spot, so it's like, let's say Wimpy's the one to go, but he has a really good performance, you know, like does that mean like someone else is getting dropped, or is he like just getting dropped regardless? So I think that there's a couple things that make Parabellum not as good as a team as I once thought they were before the roster changes. So
yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I definitely do think their best shot was with their original team. Their like play style together worked perfectly for that team. Now that they have 2 different players, I'm not sure if Penguin will be able to like IGL them. Yeah,
they're kind of the biggest question mark to me, because I could legit, at least through stage 1 while they wait for Blaz, I could see them actually being like horrible. I don't think they will be, but there's a scenario where stage 1 for them is just like they're waiting for Blaz and they're just, you know, getting used to playing in NAL and stuff. Because if you're looking at it like Wimpy replacing Melted, okay, I think that's not exactly the same player. And then Creators for Spirits is definitely like, Spirits is kind of, Spirits is even not even counting like talent level of it. If you're just looking at the play style, they were able, a lot of the way that Parabellum was able to play like very aggressively and kind of like random was because Spirits is kind of, he's like all over the place, and he'll catch you off guard Like he's a guy who's not like that fearless. I think we could put them at C, but if you were to tell me like Beast Coast finishes ahead of them, that would not like shock me at all. So the next team is Astralis.
Plant spot by the bomb chassis, just by Freezer. Before Astralis can get somebody in the position, Shuttle will be the one to do it. Geo creeping up on VIP, but he looks the wrong way around the shield. This is a tough one.
What are you thinking about Astralis?
I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting of roster moves. I think from personal experience, what I call it is, I think it'll be interesting to see what way that like roster ends up like leading to in like their play style. I think that's also like a pretty big question mark for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say B tier behind XSET. I think they'll do better than the bottom teams simply because they've been in the league for a whole year. So I think they kind of know what to expect and like how to progress forward. I think Forrest is a better pickup for Retro, just like hands down. And then Call Out as their coach will definitely like get them into shape and help them focus up more.
Yeah, I think they kind of have like conflicting pickups. So they bring in Call Out, who is more, I would say, organized, structured kind of environment. And then obviously he's teamed with Forrest for a long time, probably part of the reason they picked up Forrest. But Forrest to me has always been like more of a maniac kind of player.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Forrest is also stepping in as like a hard breach IGL role. I don't know how much experience Forrest has at that. Maybe he has been doing that. I'm honestly not sure. I think he is best when he's able to just like run around. I don't know that him playing a breach where he's like restricted, because you don't want to die with breach. You have to hold, like if you see a play and you're the breach and the wall's not open, you kind of have to just sit there. Like you can't really risk making the play a lot of time. I think I would put them at B. I think they're like clearly, to me, they're like definitely a 5th, 6th team in that area. But I guess because NA is so strong, maybe like 5 to 7 is probably where I'd put them right now. And then the last team is us. Where do you guys see us placing?
Evan, I'll give you the spotlight.
I honestly could see us getting first. I think last stage, like 3rd stage, was we kind of trolled a little bit, but
Yeah, I definitely do see us getting top 4. I think there's obviously there's like a lot of question mark teams, I guess you could say, because of all the changes that have happened. And alongside these top 4 teams, some of them obviously perform like really well against us in the NAL.
Yeah, I think I would be like, out of the 10 teams, I'd probably put us 11th, honestly. But that's just because I think NA is so strong now that, you know, we're just lucky to be in their presence, really.
Lucky to be in the league.
Their presence is a present, you might say. The question is, are we S tier as the only team to place top 4 every stage? Are we beneath the Avengers on SSG and of Warren A with TSM, DZ, and OXG?
Honestly,
I would say we're below SSG and NA, just simply because I think
we did have a winning record against SSG. We were 2-1 against SSG.
But overall, I think they're better in NA because I think the only stage they didn't get top 4 was
when Luke was playing,
right? Yeah, with Luke.
Yeah.
Give us S tier, but put us behind SSG, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Is there any changes to that order or tiering you think we should do?
I think
you put Beast Coast up 1 just so like, you know, the last place team is Mirage.
I think so. I do think SSG and us will get top 4, but
I'm
think
kind of
I think it's kind of a curveball with those 3 teams, and maybe even XSET, you could argue, because I feel like I could see either of those teams get between 3rd to even 6th. So I think it's tough to say.
I feel like I would bump TSM up to S tier because I just feel like they're the invitational champion, and part of the reason they struggled stage 3, and when we say struggled, I think they still finished 5th place, and they literally only finished 5th place because they lost like some ridiculous game.
Yeah.
So and then stage 2, I think they won it. I think they were 1st or 2nd stage 2. So I feel like TSM is S tier, but I just felt like they had a lot of like, there was the rumor with Merc, like, and then they're making like weird, like Geo is now playing Flank Watch. They just changed a lot of stuff that they won't do now. So I feel like they're S tier, and I also kind of consider that because I know TSM are going to go into stage 1 playing like every map. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this list. Obviously, if I had it my way, I would put Soniqs D tier, but it's a democracy. I guess we'll go with this one. SSG, Soniqs, TSM, S tier, DZ, OXG, A tier, XSET, Astralis, B tier, Parabellum, Beast Coast, C tier, Mirage, doo-doo tier. This is what we think, or what we want you to think that we think, or what we think you think what we think. Either way, somebody's thinking it. If you agree, if you disagree, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, you should still subscribe and like and leave a comment. Thank you.
You know, the last place team was Mirage.
I think I do think SSG and us will get top 4, but I'm trying to. I think it's kind of a curveball with those 3 teams, and maybe even XSET you could argue, because I feel like I could see all of those teams get between 3rd to even